The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt. So get ready, nerds, because we're talking Foundation, Episode 6, Death and the Maiden. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast, where we're talking about Apple TV's rendition of Foundation. This is Episode 6. I am joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds. Matt Vader 74 is here. Welcome, sir.
Hey.
How you doing, bud?
I'm here.
Conspiracy Tom is here. Welcome.
Hey, what's up? I'm bringing the estrogen.
You have officially replaced Jude.
Jude's all like, yes, I'm out. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't cuss in it for 60
You
seconds.
ruined it. It's okay. Matthew Kadish is also here. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, so Conspiracy Tom has officially stepped in for Jude because she hates this show. But Tom, thankfully, seems to like it well enough to discuss it with us. And we're going to have a good time talking about non-spoilers first off, and then going into a deep dive into this episode.
Yep. Guys, if you're new here, we spend about the first 10 minutes or so. We do spoiler-free for the public video. And then if you want to get the full spoiler edition of our discussion, go to saltynerdclub.com. That is where you're going to get access to 4 exclusive podcasts every single month where we talk about Foundation. That's what we're doing right now. And then when this is over, we'll be changing it up and talking about different movies and stuff just for our club members. So join the community if you want to get our full, raw, unfiltered selves where we get to just say whatever we want. We don't have to worry about being taken down or anything like that. That's where the action happens. saltynerdclub.com. Before we get into it, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back and we'll start talking about the episode. Welcome back. All right, guys. Foundation, Episode 6. Matthew Kadish, what's the general synopsis for this episode?
All right, so in this episode, we get to see Brother Day visit a planet called the Maiden, which is the homeworld for the Luminous religion, and he's going to try to influence the outcome of choosing the new religious leader for that religion that has 3 trillion followers in it.
Mm-hmm. That's what they said.
That's a lot of trillions.
It's a lot of people.
It outdates the Empire.
Yep.
Yeah, predates the Empire by about 10,000 years. It's a big one. And while that's going on, we see some shenanigans happen over on Terminus where Salvor Hardin basically gets free from her captivity and starts trying to screw up the Anacreons' plan over there. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much the episode. No Harry Seldon, no Gal Dornick or anything like that. Just straight up good old Empire and Terminus.
Yep. So like last episode, we talked about like there was no Empire at all. And then in this episode, it's mostly Empire and then a little bit on Terminus. I got to say, this show's finally got its hooks in me. Like this whole Empire thing where he goes down to the planet and he's trying to maneuver the new election of this new, basically like a high priestess or whatever. I'm like, okay, I was in. I understood what was going on. I understood the story. It was really, really freaking cool. I was in. The visuals, again, this show is freaking stunning visually. So I had a lot of fun with that. And the character maneuvering that happens in this with the Empire and with his robot handmaiden. What's her name again? It's a Demerzel. Something happens at the end of this episode that freaking was like, oh shit moment for me. And I was really freaking excited.
We should also point out that on Trantor, we get some more of Brother Don's story as well.
Yeah.
And he's even more different than we could have imagined.
Yeah. What did you think about this episode, bud?
That stone face.
Yeah. He's just like, this piece of shit.
I need to watch it earlier. I need to start watching these shows.
You watched this a week ago, didn't you?
Yeah. I always have a hard time with this part of the show because it's spoiler free. I can say, like you, I think this show has finally got its hooks in me a little bit.
Okay.
I'm definitely interested. My favorite parts of this show is the Empire stuff.
Yeah.
I really don't care what's going on in Terminus. It's just kind of, space battles and shooting and whatever,
You like the politics more.
I'm liking the politics and stuff of this show,
okay,
which is really kind of strange for me, right? I mean, I'm
normally
usually more of the
turn your brain off.
Yeah, but I'm finding these Empire characters fascinating.
Okay,
cool. I really am, and the stuff with the Don, Brother Don, and his little deficiencies are fascinating, and I'm very much interested. So, yeah, I don't know what else really to say.
Okay, right on. Tom, what did you think about this episode?
The show, the thing I like the most about it is the mysteries, right? Like,
okay.
It starts off with you get a couple mysteries, And now as it's going on, it's getting so much more complex, and you're just finding out, wait, what? Okay, interesting. Oh, but okay, now I'm getting some answers, but now I'm getting more mysteries. And I mean, they're really setting this up for a long run. And you know, you guys were talking about Dune earlier, which was very much of this is definitely going to be 2 parts.
Yeah.
This is definitely going to be a long show.
Yeah.
They're really building it. They're really showing me characters. I have so many questions about this show, and that's probably why I keep watching it. I have so many questions, and they're not answering my questions.
Not yet.
Not yet, but slowly I'm getting little bits, and then I'm a little worried that my guessing is generally coming true, and I'm not liking that. I'm waiting for that moment where my guesses are totally wrong. And it hasn't happened yet, but I'm waiting for that moment.
Be less smart.
Yeah, be less smart. Yeah, like just dial it down.
Just dial it down a little bit.
Yeah. But you know, when you're watching something and you know something's coming, and like I Still Know What You Did Last Summer a couple days ago. You know what? Go ahead and watch it. But there's this part where they win a radio contest to go on vacation, and the question was, what's the capital of Brazil? And they say Rio. Like, you win. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's Brasilia. And I'm like, wait, most people don't know that. And so I'm like, oh, that's part of the whole thing. And then sure enough, at the end, like, you idiot, you said Rio. It's Brasilia. And I'm like, I knew that.
Tom is so smart.
So smart.
So, Kadish, you mentioned earlier that you were actually disappointed in this episode. Like, we kind of switched. Like, you were really digging the first couple episodes of this show, and I was kind of like, I don't know if I like it yet or not. And now it's got hooks in me, and now you're like, no, I'm not into this. What's going on?
Yeah, I just feel like things should be ramping up, and I don't feel like they are. I feel like so the cliffhanger of the previous episode was Harry Seldon reappears, and he's on this like mysterious spaceship with Gale, and I'm like, oh, I want to see more of that. Nope. We're gonna take an hour and tell you a completely different story, and you're gonna have to wait a whole 2 weeks to find out what happened there. It's just like, oh, come on. Isn't there any way to weave in like all 3 of these storylines that are going on?
They might make you wait longer.
They might.
It's a sad truth.
Yeah. So it doesn't look like they're going to, thank God. But I just feel like so the first 4 to 5 episodes of this series I really enjoyed. The last 2 episodes I just feel were very uneven. Like I'm interested in the stuff that's happening on Terminus, unlike the rest of you guys, and I'm kind of like, give us more of that, or give us like more of the Empire. Like, let us see what the challenges are that they're facing, and how is Brother Don's like weird proclivities going to affect that storyline. I just feel like these last 2 episodes have been focusing on stuff that I really don't care about all that much, and I want the main thrust of the story to be more front and center. So yeah, like I just feel like this episode in particular, I was just kind of like, oh man, I gotta wait to find out what Harry's doing.
Well,
Yeah,
that's called episodic television.
Yeah,
Sir.
and I was going to ask you a question. What is the main storyline?
Yeah, I think there's.
If you want the main storyline, what is the main storyline?
I think there's more than one.
I know.
Oh,
I think so too.
I think there's
I think
3.
You think there's 3? There's
Yeah.
Empire, there's Terminus,
Gale.
and Gale.
Yeah.
Well, the main story is Harry Seldon's plan. That's the whole thing that all these 3 storylines fit into.
Right.
And I want to learn more about his plan.
Oh.
They keep kind of teasing at it, but now that Harry is back in the picture, I'm like, well, let's hear him talk about, like, we got a little bit of it in this episode.
In quotes, right? Back in the picture.
Yeah.
Well, we got a little bit of it in this episode because at a certain point, Salvor has another vault flashback, and we get to see like a major event that happened earlier in the series from a different perspective, and we get a couple answers there about Harry Seldon's plan. But I really want that to, like, I just want to know more about that.
I'm learning to appreciate how this show is telling its story. It's like, one thing I really liked about the previous episode, which I wasn't here for, was how they took time to go back to Gale's origin. And they told us the story of why she was basically an outcast, and how barbaric and ass backwards her stupid religious planet is, and it was just, that's the kind of stuff in this series that I'm learning to appreciate a little bit, because they are bothering to go back fill in some gaps and answer some questions every once in a while. So.
Yeah. See, for me, like you were really interested in Harry's storyline, and I was too. I talked about last week how much I love that whole freaking Tron spaceship that she opened up on. It was opened a whole new box of mysteries. I was in, but I wanted to know what was going on with Dawn, and I wanted to know what was going on with Day when he left. Like he was like, how could you leave? That's against protocol. You can't leave the planet, whatever. I wanted to see that, and that's what I got in this episode. So I was like, oh, cool. They're following up on those storylines. And I'm like, I can skip Harry and Gale for a minute because I think Harry and Gale's storyline is going to merge with the Terminus thing, and it's going to become, there's going to be two main storylines, the Empire and Terminus. And I think the Gale thing is just a slight deviation to kind of bring her back into the fold. But I don't know.
Or is it?
Or is it? How much more can we talk about without getting spoilers? Does anybody else want to say anything?
I think we've hit all the major points.
I think we've hit all the major points. Did you like this episode? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Matt? Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
for sure.
Tom, did you like this episode?
Oh yeah. The show's really coming together.
Okay.
I'm really excited about the end. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And Kadis, did you like this episode?
I thought it was all right. It's not my favorite of the series so far, but it was okay.
Okay. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I had a ton of fun with this episode. All right, we're going to continue this discussion for club members only. That is super hot spoiler episode-ish. We're going to be doing some deep dives, theory crafting, and dumping a frick ton of salt on it. So go to saltynerdclub.com, join this Salty Club membership, and you guys can help support us and get access to a ton of awesome content in return, and as well as our Discord access. And if you love this show, our Discord chat for this show is freaking unbelievable. We've got a couple of people in there who are club members who are just freaking dissecting the show scene by scene, throwing theories out there and videos and interviews from other from the director and showrunner and stuff.
Super fans.
Super fans. It's really awesome. So join the club membership, get access to all that cool stuff. All right, that's it for our spoiler-free section. We're going to be moving to our spoiler-heavy section right now. So thank you guys all for joining us, and join the club members to get the rest of the episode. See you later.